just keep standing tall and speaking your truth. It's not always easy, but it doesn't have to be always easy. We don't want it to be always easy because that's boring.
Welcome to the Seeing in the Dark podcast. My name is Nicole Costeres, and I welcome you in a space to find a deep trust in yourself, your intuition, and the deeper intelligence of life. In this podcast, I offer ways to cultivate your intuitive gifts and dive deep into the mysteries of power, purpose, and soul leadership, so that you can remember your deepest core and let your truest potential come alive. Dark, primal, shamanically wild, crystallized, bright, and subtly intuitive.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'm here today with Gretta Martina, and she is the founder of Leef, Bewust Nederland. She is a conscious entrepreneur and she's passionate about conscious living. And I also know she's passionate about traveling the world and adventure. And so I met Gretta, I think I met you about 2 years ago for the first time in person.
In person, yeah, I think 2 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. But I feel especially the last few months we've been more closely connecting, and I just feel like, besides that you're a very dear friend of mine, I also feel super inspired by the way you are holding yourself and your business with so much stability, calmness, and clarity. And I feel for like the part that specifically inspires me is that your business reaches over 2 million people a month, and you have a message that is really inspiring lots of people, but it's also a message that triggers lots of people. And the way that you are holding yourself in that, I just feel like really, really inspired with that.
Yeah.
So I feel so many directions that we can go on, but I feel curious to start with. Have you always been this relaxed and stable in the message that you want to share with the world?
No, actually, I wasn't at all. I think I was, if I look back 10 years ago, it would be, you wouldn't recognize me maybe, because it was the complete opposite in everything. It felt unstable. I felt unsure. There was a lot of self-doubt. I also, with sharing my message, because I didn't really knew what wanted to be shared through me. So no, I wasn't stable at all. I really grew into it. And it took a lot of practice and many years as well for my personal self to get a clear message or to get a clear mission, to feel a mission inside of me. And for my business, it also took some time to get a clear message, because it's always moving and really dynamic and evolving. And I think with that, my stability grew.
Yeah. So if you would look back on where that started for you, because I feel a lot of listeners and viewers who have like the passion and aliveness to come out more fully with their message, that we're all bumping into similar insecurities and doubts around that.
Yeah.
So
it feels like a similar process if we grow into more visibility and standing in our own truth. Yeah.
Yes. If you would look back at maybe those times of 10 years ago, what do you feel were some of the insecurities or doubts that you were bumping into?
As an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, I started as a freelancer. For me, that's a little different than having your own company, because you're working for others. So in the first 4 years, I worked as a freelancer, and then there it wasn't important to have an own message or voice. Where it really started was when I decided to sell my house and all my stuff and started traveling the world. I think I made a decision in 2015, but I started traveling in 2016. And I knew then that I was leaving everything behind except my personal blog, which is Leef Bewust. So I had like, and my husband was also traveling with me. So we had like a small laptop and an iPad, and our business started from there. So we just knew we had a lot of passion in sharing about holistic health and sharing about living up to your own potential. And we just started sharing about that in the beginning of 2016, and that's where it started. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love how it's also like 2015 and 16, how that's aligned for both of us, because for me it's the similar story. So I just noticed excitement in that. Yeah. So
and I had no idea what I was creating. I was just really following inspiration and sharing about it. And at some point it grew. But I was never, even at that point, I wasn't thinking about it being a company or making money with it. It was just me with my personal blog sharing about what I was experiencing and my vision on life. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So in the beginning for you, it was like purely that you're sharing from your passion, following your excitement, sharing your inspirations, and at that point not even yet making money with this company that grew so big now today.
Yeah, and a big part of it is still the same now. I'm still working from passion, following inspiration. Only now I have learned so many things in the past years about strategy, also how to become visible, and how to build a company, and also the ups and downs, how you move with it. That's what maybe makes me a professional now. But the where it all started from is still the same, and I really hold it very close to me, because I feel that's the way. If you can move and from your heart and authenticity and passion, then I think there's where the magic happens.
I love it. I love, like, when I share about it, I often say that the mystery, or like the deeper intelligence of life, is the strategy. And that's where all the magic happens. And that's where our mission and our purpose can birth more fully into the world from.
I would say that's the true strategy. And then there is something that is needed to make it more practical. So you can actually build a business, for example, a part online, to make it visible and to make it maybe more attractive to others that can really relate to what you're sharing.
Exactly.
So the true strategy is really inside. It's already here.
So before we go more to where you are right now, I feel curious to the process of you sharing passionately your inspirations, traveling the world with your husband and the laptop, and and then really, like, as you are becoming more and more visible, can you share a bit about how that affected you inside? Like, what were things you started to bump into, besides, I can imagine, a lot of excitement of, wow, my message starts to reach more people? What were
I'm not sure if I was excited.
No?
I don't know. Maybe sometimes, but it was also really scary, because in the beginning, I can really remember like the first 100 likes on Facebook, and I believe I knew every one of them. But at some point you grow, and then there are a lot of people that are following you that don't know you. And I was
Hey guys, we just lost connection for a moment, but we'll just continue our conversation now. So Gretta was sharing that you remember you had your first 100 likes, and in the beginning were people that you knew, but then as it started to grow, more and more people started to see your work that you had no idea who those people were.
So what I felt in these moments was like a loss of control, because I don't know, in some funny way, if I knew who the people were that were following me, I felt a sense of control. And now it was growing beyond me, and I had to really let go of control. And that was like, I think, a challenging part for my ego and my mind. because I didn't know who was watching me and what they thought about me. And yeah, I think that's a big part of becoming more visible and really keep sharing your truth, even though people are looking or listening that don't agree with it. So what you see a lot is that in the beginning, entrepreneurs are really open and they share a lot, and then they grow bigger, and then they are starting to, um, I don't know, smaller their message or make it more mainstream or whatever. But
Mm,
I think the beautiful part of it is if you can just keep walking your talk and speaking your truth. Um, but what was for me was very important was to work on myself for that, to work on my self-doubt, because what we are doing in our company is also considered alternative. So we always have people that really like us or hate us. And in the beginning, I could really feel when I got a lot of critic on, for example, that cancer is curable. Then there were people that really are, no, what are you sharing, and it's not true, and blah blah blah. That I really felt insecure and thought, oh no, I cannot write this article. I have to put it down, or I was always, because of my own self doubt, thinking that the critic was right, or the yeah, and that I had to do something to change it.
yeah,
And this is like what I could feel like a push and pull energy inside of me,
yeah,
like moving in and moving out all the time. I felt like maybe for many years I felt unstable.
yeah,
So then I felt the courage again to share it, and then someone was sharing a lot of hate, and then I thought, oh no, that's not my direction. I,
yeah,
s- I took a
yeah.
step back.
Well, I think what you're naming here is so like, I think so many people will be able to relate with that, because I see and I recognize in myself also the coming out and then the
Yeah,
vulnerability of being either liked or
it's
disliked.
really
And then
vulnerable.
I remember even my first YouTube video where I got my first thumbs down. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, my first thumbs down. I was upset for days. I remember. I was like, oh my God. I got
It's funny how we can get 100 positive comments and one negative comment, and you only keep like spinning with that negative
yes,
comment. And
exactly.
that's what we need to train in ourselves. That
Yes.
why, what is it in us that keeps doing that, and
Yes.
why we are doing that, and how can we make sure that we don't do it anymore, and really
Yes.
start appreciating the people that are giving those thumbs ups and positive, because those are your I believe that's your tribe. Those
Yes.
are your people. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So you're naming that the process for you has been letting go of control because the audience was growing, but then also learning to stay stable as there was also critical comments coming your way. What do you feel was, because I also would love to hear some of the gems that you found on your way. What do you feel really helped you in that process of letting go of control? And also of staying more stable in your message.
So what helped me was that I had someone to talk to that could be objective in this. Because what happens when you get a lot of hate or negative comments, you take it as your own, and it starts getting living a own life inside of you. And I think it's really good if you could have someone beside you, or like a mentor that knows what you're going through and helps you to get the right perspective from it, because it's your own insecurity or self-doubt makes something received as critic, because it's just an opinion of someone else. It doesn't mean anything, but you give it meaning because you're insecure. So for me, it helped a lot to talk with someone that could be objective. So not someone that goes into the story and yeah, like not gossiping or like projecting or blaming others. No, someone that really helps you to see it clearly, more clearly, and that's maybe like that's the first gem. And the second gem is then to do the inner work, because there's a message, a deeper message in the trigger that you feel inside of you.
Yes.
And it's funny because sometimes you get the same hate message, but when it comes from, for example, somebody you know, you feel it much stronger. And if it's someone you don't know, then you can really leave it and nothing, like nothing happened. So I think there is a lot of inner work to do there. And that would be the second gem, to really look inside yourself and start reflecting and asking question, what does it trigger inside of me, or where does it triggers, and then move more inward and really feel, because usually there's pain underneath it, or like unworthiness, I don't feel good enough, or I feel that I cannot speak my own truth, or if you know what the trigger is, then you can work with it. And I have and a lot of what helped me a lot was also to be compassionate with yourself, to be soft and gentle with what you're feeling when someone triggers you, but also to really share all your love and compassion towards the one that sends you hate. Because really, if I think about it, if somebody is just like, usually it happens online, right? And somebody gives you a message, and sometimes they are even yelling or really personal without even knowing you. Me, I feel there is a lot of sadness that if someone wants to do that, why spend your precious time to critic someone else that you don't even know? And the people that do it the most aren't even really interested in what you are sharing.
Yes.
Or not really listening. So, or they are like, so there's a lot of jealousy or whatever. So I feel compassion for that, or I send compassion to them, because they must be in a sad place if they spend their time that way. And that helps me also to soften more in my own body and my own mind, and to be gentle with
beautiful. And also listening to you, what comes up is that we can decide how we receive and how we unpack the critic or negative comments that come our way. We can either start to defend, or like allow it to
or blame.
Or we can use it as an opportunity, like I hear you say also, as an opportunity to see, okay, where am I still believing that this is actually true about me? Or where am I still where am I still not feeling worthy in the message that wants to come through me into the world?
And sometimes it's about really looking inward and like going deep and feeling where the problem lies, or the whatever it is. But a lot of times it's also about just setting boundaries and not receiving. You don't always, also if you feel like something is moved by it, you don't always have to look inside. Sometimes it's just a matter of I'm not going into it in this. And maybe it's about then being really selective in how you want to spend your time and energy. Because at my point, I don't have time. I was. I don't know what happened.
Frozen. Something froze. I love that you brought this in, that we don't always have to reflect when something negative or like a critical comment come towards us, that we don't always have to go inside and reflect on it, because that has certainly been part of my process, where I started to over reflect on myself. And I remember like a friend of mine, she gave me a really beautiful, that was a gem for sure for me. She said, really be selective who you allow in feedback wise. Like, are you like is it someone that lives the way that you also want to be in life? Then it's good to take it in and have a look. Is it someone that actually lives in a way that is not the way you want to live? Then be really, really selective if you allow that in as feedback.
And maybe not even live, but also experience, because like your best friend is maybe living in the same way, but doesn't have the experience you have in entrepreneurship. And she can have the best intention, but can give the worst advice because she doesn't have the experience. It's also to be honest with yourself and with the other, to really know like the 5 people that you're allowing advice from. And then because at my point, if I'm reading all the comments and feel the triggers, and I think I have to do something with it, then that's a new job for me, because and I don't think I have any time to do something else, because when you're growing, maybe it's good to know that it doesn't always have to, how do you say that? Het heeft niet iets met jou altijd iets met jou te maken. So it
it's not always personal.
It usually is a projection of someone else.
Yes.
Or sometimes you feel something deep triggered, and then it's interesting to just find out what is happening here. But it's a projection of someone else. You can also just leave it aside and just move on with your day. And I think that helps a lot. Actually, I'm not even focused on that anymore. It's like a filter inside of me. I don't see the negativity because I already filter it in some way.
That's beautiful.
But it took some time.
So I want to go back to where you were saying that for years you experienced yourself like going more fully into your mission and then wobbling out of it and coming back more fully into it and wobbling out of that. Can you share a bit more about the process of that stabilizing into where you now, like, I love how you share, and I feel that to be very true in you, that you have like a very strong filter for that.
So I could go different ways here, but to be really honest, for me, of course, it has something to do with experience and just keep sharing, and then you learn from it. But I'm always doing inner work. I'm always walking my spiritual path. So when something shifts inside my own being, and for example, I feel deeply rooted inside myself, I know or feel or sense who I truly am, and I feel a deep trust in that. This field or this energy that keeps growing inside of me, it naturally shifts the way I interpret negativity or whatever happens in my business, because a lot of things go wrong. That's part of it. You learn from that. It's actually not something wrong. It's not something bad. It helps you to grow, but you need to invite it and receive it that way. Otherwise, you're always like battling towards lessons life is giving you. So I believe life is always helping you to grow more into your potential, or to grow more into your deeper self. And that's my personal journey. And I'm sure if I wasn't doing that, then my business wasn't what it is today. Or I wasn't who I am today. Maybe I had this business, but was really stressed, or like in my head, or thinking that I had to do it from will, or like hard work, and that's not the game I play.
So for what I hear you say is, for you it has been a blend of just the growing and learning over time, and that the stabilizing in that, but then also like the spiritual, the deep inner work on our spiritual path, and just keep
Yeah.
looking inside and deepening and stabilizing in ourselves, actually. Because in that sense, I don't think we can fully separate or not at all. I think it's very connected, how stable we are inside of ourselves in all aspects of our life, and that then flows into business, in relationships, in friendships, in lifestyle, in everything, actually.
Yeah, and even for entrepreneurship, a part of it is strategy, and for strategy, like not the true strategy, but the strategy to get it to make it practical, to really build your business. That's in on an important part of it, but a small part. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs only focused on the strategy, and they believe that a lot of them believe that they don't know the right strategies, and that's why their business isn't growing. But I always say, and that's the other part is, and it's the bigger part, is fulfillment. Yes. What is it that fulfills you? Yeah. And really dive deep into that and let the fulfillment that lives inside of you fill the strategy. And I'm also mentoring entrepreneurs. And I keep sharing this, but there is this strange mechanism, and I think it's the head that keeps pulling us out of this deep passion that we always have inside of us. And then in the mind, thinking about our business in plaats van, how do you say that? Instead of really feeling your business. Like, and for me, it was in the first years, like having I don't have children, but it feels like a baby growing inside of me. Yes. And at some point, and that's the scary point, you give birth to it. And then you also, I felt energetically in the beginning, it was inside of me. And then I felt it wasn't inside of me anymore. It was just living its own life. And at that point, I had more people working in it, and the company grew. So that's also about letting go of what you think it needs to become, and trusting that what it is becoming is what is needed for the collective. Beautiful. And that, and just keep moving from your own talents to wisdom, whatever others are saying, because they don't know.
Yeah, beautiful.
I don't have a lot of people that really ask the right questions. Like, for example, we assume a lot of things. Even when someone gives you negative comments, then you see a lot of assuming, and without asking, like, who are you and what is the reason why you are sharing this? Or like, we don't ask a lot of questions. We just, I don't know, I miss that a lot. Yeah, just be open towards what someone is sharing, the vision. There are so many perspectives to life and in life, and there's not only one way. There are 1,000 ways.
Let's go back to see if there's any other like things. What I heard you say is to going inside, to really stay connected to your spiritual process, really stabilizing inside of yourself. I feel for me also, what I can sense currently also, that there's also like a choice that has to be made somehow. Like for me, the wobbliness is also a lack of choice and commitment or devotion to that message that lives inside of us, Like, I feel if we commit 40%, then life will meet us 40%. If we devote ourselves 100%, life just has to meet us there. Yeah. And it might not always be in the way that we think it should go or we think it should look like, but life meets us always there.
Yeah, true. And I believe that, like, maybe in the beginning, it feels like you're choosing a sort of direction in your business. But if you go more deeply into that, you're just choosing you. Like, back yourself up 100%.
I love this.
That's all of it. And maybe it feels like, oh, if I'm doing that, I'm choosing, like, for me, if I look at my business, it's moving all the time, and it changes direction. Maybe for others, you don't see it because it's in the same lane maybe. But for me, because I'm in it, it feels like it moves a lot, and it's not one straight line.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't believe that if you, maybe sometimes people are saying that, no, I find it difficult to choose because I don't know if it's the right thing.
Yes.
If you choose you are always right, you know?
Love that you share this.
Yeah. So, to, it reminds me also that what we haven't talked about is that what was a big deal for me is really receiving the abundance that was given. That's maybe still a challenge for me, like, because when you are saying yes to you and to what comes out of you and the business that you see and the vision and mission that you want to create, and if you really also have the commitment to act on it, so you're also doing the work, then at some point your business start growing. And at that point, you really need to open up all the gates to receive what you've been giving. Because if you don't, then you start being unstable again. Because if you grow, like energetically also, there's always a balance between receiving and giving. And I was giving so much, but not allowing myself to receive. And then I felt unstable again.
Wow.
And especially on the financial part for me, because there was a lot of judgment there. And so I need to like heal parts inside of myself that I could look in a more objective way towards money, for example.
Yeah.
And now I can really feel, wow, it's giving me the resources to help more people, to
Beautiful.
get the message out there. So yeah, receiving is actually a really big part of it. Yeah.
Can you give an example of something that made you wobble in the receiving? So you name like the financial part, but what was a belief or like a judgment towards yourself or the business that you bumped into?
Yeah, it's still the unworthiness. So I'm not worthy of receiving. I am not worth it. So maybe it's the part of me that maybe my business started from a position that I wanted to help others, like they call it the reddersrol. I don't know how you say that in English. The savior, like the savior. And then I became more mature and realized, no, it's not about saving anything. It's just about allowing life to happen through you. And there I could still feel like unworthiness to really live life full, like with full expression, with everything that wants to be felt, that wants to be lived, that wants to be given, and that wants to be received. And the receiving part was challenging because of my personal traumas in my childhood. I wasn't used to receive because I thought I wasn't worth it. So that's and I believe if you for a lot of people that's like the core of the issue, or the belief, the core of the belief that you don't feel you're worthy of it. And of course, if you look more into the layers, then you see, like in the spiritual community, there are a lot of beliefs that say that you're not allowed to have like a luxury life, or to have a lot of money, or to drive in a certain car. So there's also like this self-image that you're maybe creating. And for everyone that is listening now, I really want to invite you to let go of every image that you think you need to become, but really not look at what you're going to, but look at where you're coming from.
Yeah, I love
That's what's happening. That's what life is. It's here now.
Yeah.
So if you really feel that, then everything what comes out of you, if you do it from like an authenticity or authentic way, then it's always right. And yeah, I feel a lot of trust in this, and that's the only thing that I'm doing. So for me, what I'm doing to grow a business at this size is really simple. It's just being authentic and just keep standing tall and speaking your truth. It's not always easy, but it doesn't have to be always easy. We don't want it to be always easy because that's boring.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love like what I get from what you're sharing here about the receiving is that a part of it is also permission. Like if I look at myself, also Women of Ancient Futures, the growth that it went through last year, I did kind of at the end of the year crash from all the receiving that my system had to digest. And my system was a bit like, it couldn't digest. Yeah. And I feel like what has been a really important gem in that for me was the permission. And I really relate also with the worthiness, like recognizing that it's okay, that I can do so much more for the world and for my business and for myself and my own lifestyle by allowing myself to receive that fully.
Yeah, and also to allow to not hold what you're receiving. So when you feel there's a lot of coming your way and you think you need to hold it somewhere, then it's too much. It's the same with giving. So just receive and not don't create attachment. Just receive it, let it flow, and maybe you lose it sometime. That's also fine because it's just movement. Yeah. That helps me as well, because at some point, like for me, to have a lot of money and like a lot of wealth, it became at some point also scary again. Like, wow, what how do I need to keep this in the right way? And like with taxes, there's a lot of stuff that will pop up when you have a lot of wealth. And that's really new for me, because I don't have anyone in my environment that is wealthy. So that was also a challenge, to don't create any attachments towards it. Yeah. It's just life moving through you, and you use it the way you want to use it. Also take a lot of self-care in it. I saw your post, I think a few days ago. Yes, really treat yourself well. Yes. Because you work for it, and there's a reason why you get it. But for me, it's I don't feel like the me is only myself, like in an egocentric way. I just feel that we're connected, and what you're doing for me, I'm doing for you, and it's all interrelated. So that's that's what really keeps me going, actually. If I was doing this for me, then I wasn't doing it, I believe.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So just wanting to take a moment to take it all in, and I feel like I hope that everything that is shared now can be an inspiration of like this. We've been speaking a lot about decision and devotion, but also permission and stabilizing. And I feel curious if we would bring that to the current global crisis or initiation, depending how you are experiencing it. Do you feel that these same gems can apply when it comes to holding our ground in how we see the situation, or how we want to experience this situation? Because I can notice sometimes when I am sharing how I see it, not everybody is agreeing with that. Even in my own family, there are family members that look at this situation completely different than how I am experiencing it. Yeah. And I really love the piece where you share that, just share you, be you, that's the most important thing. And I feel that we can apply these same gems also on this global situation that is happening right now.
True. And compassion, I think, is the key, because there is no one way of living or one way of seeing. Yes, maybe in that what we truly are, there's only one, but how it is expressed is in multiple thousands, millions of ways. And I I just find it really fascinating if someone has a totally different view on life than me. Then I'm like, I don't know, there's a lot of curiosity there, not a judgment, or not because there is no self-doubt in me anymore. If I was insecure, I would doubt myself when I hear a different point of view. But now I feel I hear and see the different point of view, and I feel there is compassion there. I feel there is curiosity there, and also an acceptance that I accept this different view of life, but I also accept my own position in this. And I think that together we can see like the bigger picture. But if we think this my way is the only way, yes, for me it is maybe, but not for someone else. So then it's all up to being true to what your truth is. But do you know your truth? That's maybe the real question. And if you know your truth, can you really stand by it and trust that whatever happens or whatever comes at your way or falls away, because there is a lot of falling away now, friendships and whatever, that it's exactly what needs to happen for you to become even more to grow even more into what you are becoming. And life is just guiding always. And I also feel a lot of trust in like the darker side of life, because there is no judgment, or less. I'm still working on it, but there's so much falling off for me when I started to accept all the dark sides of life, and also could see that most of it is just projections and ideas of what dark is. If you get to pure darkness, it's, for me, it's the most beautiful thing. Yeah, so it's maybe the journey leads you to what you need to know or need to experience to get into a deeper way of living, if that's what you want. And if that's what you don't want, then don't do it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much. I feel like I feel like a lot of inspirations have been shared, and thank you for your wisdom and for your inspiration.
It feels really, really good to be able to do this and share this and talk with you and your community as well.
Yeah. So if listeners or viewers are curious about you and they want to know more about you and your work, where can they find you?
So if they want to know more about my company, Bewust Nederland, then they can go to Instagram @leefbewust_nu. I think maybe you can write it.
We'll also put in the link down below.
But this is in Dutch. So actually, first of all, I need to say everything that I'm doing is in Dutch.
Yes.
So only for the Dutch people, it's interesting. And my personal Instagram is Nomad Gretta. So and I share a lot of different topics, but especially like about self-realization and life wisdom and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nomadic living also. I hear you share about that quite a bit as well.
Yeah. So I just, like on my personal page, I see it as my creative space. I just create and see what works. And if it really works, I make a concept out of it and I implement it in my bigger business. Yeah. So this is playground.
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so
much, Nicole. Yeah, great.
Thank you for being here. You can learn more about Nicole and Women of Ancient Futures by downloading her free meditation, Melting into Your Most Free and Alive Self, on her website, womenofancientfutures.com. This meditation guides you into a meeting with a parallel version of you that is already deeply embodying her core qualities and can offer a transmission on the next evolution of who you are becoming. So, if you want to receive a powerful guided meditation to connect to your most free and alive self, receive inspiration, support, and guidance from her, and return to a deep connection with the potential that lives inside of you, go to
womenofancientfutures.com and get direct access to this welcome gift.